welcome to Summer Tomato. I have a very exciting guest with us today, and I don't do this very often at Summer Tomato, as you guys know, but I have somebody really special here who's working on something really exciting, and I just really want to share it with you guys. So without further ado, please meet the beautiful and amazing and awesome Shauna Ahern, who is also known as Gluten-Free Girl. One of the best, probably the best gluten-free baking blog on the entire internet. She's a James Beard award-winning cookbook author and an all-around amazing person. So welcome, Shauna.
I need to come and talk to you every day.
Yeah, you need me to pump you up. I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
It's awesome. I'm really excited about it, actually, because of all the people I've talked to about food, you approach it in such a amazing way, and I think you really embody what it means to be a foodist, which is really optimizing your quality of life using food. You know, you eat things that are delicious, you nourish your family, and everybody, if you don't follow her blog, like, you have to go and like read about her amazing family because they're so adorable, and I think you're the only person on Instagram I follow who like posts pictures of their kids because they're so cute, and it's a beautiful story. So, and also there you have a health issue that you have been dealing with your entire life, and food has been a way for you to help address that and make your life better. So I'd love to start there with people. Tell us about why you're gluten-free.
Well, I'm not gluten-free by choice, but I'm certainly glad I am gluten-free because my body regards gluten as a toxin. I have celiac sprue. I got diagnosed in 2005. And before I was diagnosed, I was so sick. For years, I was low-level lousy, and then the last year it was emergency rooms and ultrasounds and CAT scans. Everyone thought I had cancer or some weird rare disease, you know. So when I found out that the best way to heal myself was just to eat really good food that didn't contain gluten, I thought this is just a joyful celebration. My doctor said nobody had ever reacted like I did. But, you know, getting celiac changed my life entirely. Not only did I find my health, but I found this passion for food that, you know, had been simmering under the surface of what I've been doing, but came to a rapid boil as soon as I was diagnosed. And I realized immediately the better I fed myself, the more healed I was. And I started writing about it, and to my complete surprise, you know, I started in 2005. There were no food blogs in 2005. It was like about 100 of us weirdos who were taking pictures for dinner and writing stories about it, you know. And about 2 months in, people started leaving me comments, and I thought, who are these people? And then it just became what it is today.
Amazing. So one of the things that I really love about your approach is, you know, I love that for you it's a given that, like, we are not sacrificing here. Like there is no part of any of this that involves sacrifice.
No.
Instead, you're like, well, that's the goal. You're like, the goal is to be happy, have an awesome life.
Yep.
That involves being healthy.
Yeah.
Being not healthy feels like shit. And so I love how you approach it in a very scientific way. I mean, you have sent me dozens of emails asking about certain studies and, you know, really digging in there. But at the end of the day, what matters is what works for you. So can you give us a little bit about how you've sort of tackled and continued to improve your health over time?
Yeah, I am a total geek. I mean, I'm no shame about it whatsoever. I wake up thinking about formulations for flour blends in my head at 4 a.m. You know, I actually wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid and didn't follow through on it because I realized I couldn't write novels at the same time. But I still have that medical bent. And I was also a high school teacher for a long time. So I had to learn how to explain and encapsulate in a really entertaining and interesting way to get kids to read The Great Gatsby, you know? So for me, it's just natural to constantly want to learn everything I can about this. And so I'm constantly looking at new studies on celiac, new possibilities for treatment, whether or not, you know, a lot of the readers we have said that they seem to do better without grains, and that started popping up the last couple of years. So I started really looking into that, and I haven't cut out grains completely, but I've cut way down on them because I realized that the typical American diet is completely grain-based. Not that there's anything, I don't think most people are eating like freeka, just gluten, so I can't eat it. But you know, exactly. But most folks, when they're eating grain, are really just eating cheap bleached white flour, which is made with gluten. And so when you start to look at it and think, well, how do I choose a life that is based on the food that really nourishes me? That's, vegetables and good meats and fruits and some grains and nuts and seeds and good fat, all those fun things that I'm playing with. And then make everything else a treat on the edges. That's actually how I found that I healed myself and how I like to help other people heal themselves too.
That's amazing. And so in terms, like, how does that like manifest in your kitchen? Like what are the experiment? Like, are you like, well, this week I'm going to try not eating oats, or like, how does that go?
It's never not for me. It always is yes. It's always what I can eat. It's always what I want to put into our diet. I think that we live in a culture of deprivation, and we live in a culture that screams pretty loudly about what we shouldn't be doing. And what I know, as soon as you put some kind of opinion up, somebody's very quick to tell you that you're wrong. And more power to them. That's their deal. But for me, it's about celebration. And we have a 6-year-old and a 6-month-old. And the 6-month-old is just starting to eat solid foods and getting very excited about avocados. But our 6-year-old Lucy, she is really excited about food. And when we say, hey, Lucy, I know it'd be fun to have that ice cream right now, but you're about to go to acrobatics class. What happens if you eat a treat and nothing else right before you go to acrobatics? Well, I get tired and okay, so what can we eat that's good food that can help you build your energy? And so even it shifted the last couple of years again, deciding to talk about this with Lucy and help her to build her body has made me even more adamant that I want to do it right.
That's great. So tell me a little bit more about baking, because baking is sort of your forte, and it's, I mean, when you think about gluten-free, I mean, for me, like if this happened to me, if I was like, they're like, okay, no more gluten for you, I'd be like, awesome, salad for the rest of my life. But you were like, no, I still want pie, and I still want bread, and I still want bagels.
Right.
So what have been the challenges that you've come up across in that? I mean, gosh, sounds hard.
It is hard at first. There's no question. When you first think, you have to be gluten-free, the only thing you can imagine are all the things you can't have. And that's a very human response. There's nothing wrong with it. And so I remember thinking, okay, I'm so excited that I'm finally going to feel better. I really addressed it as a challenge. And then I thought, oh, I'll never eat another baguette in Paris. Well, then I thought, well, I mean, I haven't been to Paris since I've been. So, the pluses come on the side. So what I did was the first 3 months that I was gluten-free, I just didn't think about baking. I gave away all my baking books. I emptied everything that had flour out of the pantry, and I focused on all those foods that are naturally gluten-free. But then I realized that I missed baking. I didn't miss eating chocolate chip cookies, but I missed the smell of chocolate chip cookies warm out of the oven. Because baking is sharing. Baking is a way, when you do it right, to really say you love someone. In moderation, of course, but it's like my daughter is in kindergarten, and there are constant parties. So if I'm going to be able to feed her gluten-free cupcakes, might as well throw in that one kid who can't eat eggs and the other one who can't eat dairy, and make them gluten-free vegan cupcakes that are delicious. And it turns out all the other kids want them too. So for me, it's that challenge and that excitement of trying to figure out, how to like balance proteins and starches and fats and liquids. It's a geek part of me, with that part that just wants to offer warm cookies to kids.
Of course. And I that's amazing. I love it. So in the process of creating these amazing dishes, and I see them, you guys, by the way, you should also follow her on Instagram, because if you want to see all these amazing dishes that she makes, they look so, I mean, they don't like it doesn't even cross your mind that they're gluten-free. I mean, I get reminded in the caption, sometimes, gosh, they don't even have grains at all.
No.
I'm like, there's a big fluffy loaf of bread, and she's telling me there's no grains in it. So it's sort of this, like, I feel like you're this like magical alchemist. But I know that like other people who struggle with celiac or just paleo for whatever reason have decided to follow this health path. How do they do? I mean, you've been working on making this easier for people. So tell us how other people can do the amazing things that you do.
Absolutely. I know now, particularly now that I have 2 kids, not everybody wants to have like 8 to 10 little bags of gluten-free flour out and do little bits of each to build a flour blend. That's what we've done, my husband Danny and I, over the last 10 years. And so this is why we're launching our gluten-free flour blends. And we've got a Kickstarter going right now. We want to help fund it, because we want to bring these to market so you don't have to think about it. I have literally tried every single permutation of gluten-free flour blends I could try. I drove my poor husband crazy last year when we were working on our next cookbook because he said, that AP flour from the last book that won the James Beard Award, it's good. I was like, yes, but I have to try 48 other ones to make sure. And, you know, he agrees that it actually has helped because I can honestly say these are the best flour blends out there. So we've come up with an all-purpose flour blend, which people can use. I like to think of it as the treats flour. You know, if you're going to make pie, make pie. Don't make it be like a whole grain pie or a wholesome pie. Have pie once in a while. You know? Yes. These are for the cupcakes for the kids when it's kindergarten. This flour blend is for, you know, cookies for someone's birthday, that kind of thing. And then we came up with what I think of as our more wholesome blend, which happens to be grain-free. I heard from a lot of folks in the last couple of years that they seem to do better without grains, inflammation-wise and, you know, digestion-wise. So again, instead of thinking of it as what can't I use? I thought, well, what is grain-free? What is not a grain? And quinoa and buckwheat are pseudo-cereals. They're not in the grass. They are, now quinoa is too strong. It's very grassy and would not make good anything. Except for quinoa. I love quinoa, but not big. But buckwheat, which is this wonderful, powerful food, is actually not a grain. And then almond flour and arrowroot, which is what we use as a combination here, it makes a fantastic sourdough bread. And people can see the picture of that on our website. I'm proud of that one. Wow. Oh, yes.
That's amazing.
Grain-free sourdough bread. Come on.
Wow. So what I'm hearing, so I don't do a lot of baking, so this is all sort of novel to me. So what I'm hearing you say is that typically if you're exploring grain-free or gluten-free baking, it's something of an involved process. There's a lot of different flours you need to have on hand, mixed in very specific ratios that can be, it's doable, but it's challenging.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to have a geeky personality like me to want to do it and a lot of time on your hands. This is our full-time job. Danny and I do this, and that's why we do this. But these flours are actually, if we get it funded, we are actually ready to go with the all-purpose flour. We're hoping to have it out by the holidays. And it is one-for-one replacement. So you can use the same amount of the gluten-free flour as regular flour, and you don't have to think about it. It will just be your flour. You don't have to think of it as anything special. You also don't have to add xanthan gum or guar gum or vitamin C powder or any additives to make it work. It works on its own.
So that was going to be my next question. So another big issue with flour in general is, you know, even as somebody who, I eat grains, but I don't want to eat crappy bread. Like, I don't want to eat crappy flour. And even, I'm just, it's hard, you know, I mean, and it's true though, like most of the huge industrial production, you don't really know what you're getting. So yeah, can you explain your choices on what is and isn't in there from that perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times what you'll see, I've sort of been disheartened the last few years because when I first became gluten-free, you know, very few people even knew what it was. I'd have to explain myself in restaurants. I had one server ask me why I didn't want glue in my food. I'm like, you know, no. You know, now it's so ubiquitous that, you know, which is great because it's easier for people. But on the other hand, big food has come in gluten-free. So you get all of these big processed foods saying it's gluten-free. Well, I'm sorry, Oreos are still Oreos, you know, and so the first ingredient of most packaged gluten-free foods is sugar. I mean, sugar, and then
all foods, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Sugar, then cornstarch, then hydrogenated oil. I mean, it's the same problem as it is with gluten. It's no healthier. So these flour blends are just flours. We've formulated them specifically so that we have the right ratio of proteins and fats and starches and all the kind of geeky work I love to do, so nobody else has done it. We also have a co-packer who's helped us with the research and development, so it's not just in our kitchen here. And they are ready to go, but they don't have anything else.
So I think you nailed it with what you just said. I think there's this like sort of illusion that just because something is gluten-free, it's necessarily healthier.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as with anything that gets really popular in the food world, the second like Kellogg's hears about this stuff, they create a very inferior, very crappy product that you can't really count on, yet you know, millions of people are buying because they believe there's this health halo.
Right.
But I love that you're creating this because it's, you know, it's so grassroots, it's so ground up, it's so purpose-based. You know, I know that you don't need to do this. You know, it's
no. I mean, like, what, you know, what I finally realized, we had an interesting switch last week because we've been working on this for more than a year. We've been working on the flour blends for a decade, but this very purposeful, you know, walk toward getting to these market. And all along we kept saying, well, we have a lot of loyal fans, and let's just provide the flowers for them, because a lot of people have said to us, can I just buy it from you? I've done videos on how to make them. You can still find the recipe on the website. I'm not going to take it down. You can make it in your own home. Go right ahead. And yet no matter what I did, people would say, can I just buy it from you? And so at first we thought, well, sure, let's do it. And we wanted to not, boast. We didn't want to say these are the best gluten-free flour blends in the market, because that's not how I am. I just want to offer. But then I started realizing, wait a second, they are the best gluten-free in the market. Why not own it? And for me, the telling mark was, I realized if we thought there was a better flour blend out there for folks, we would have that on our website. We'd find an affiliate program with them. We would just recommend it for every recipe. We'd make easy money without having to do anything. But we chosen the harder way because we really believe in this.
Absolutely. And I'm that's why I love you so much. And I'm the same way. I get nothing for promoting you. I just love my readers, and I know that they struggle with these same problems. We all have problems, and anything that that just lowers the barrier. Life is hard.
Yeah, it is. And there's never enough time.
Yeah.
And add kids to the mix, it's chaos. I'm not going to show you on the computer what the living room looks like now.
Right.
It doesn't look like yours. You have little kids, and you've got to think constantly about, did you do your homework for the kindergarten? And I got to send that note, and the baby's crying. There's a lot to it. And at the same time, I know why people choose packaged foods and takeout, because it seems easier, but nobody is going to remember when kids are adults. They're not going to remember the 75th time you order pizza. They're going to remember the time that they helped you to make pizza dough. And that's really what we want to do, is we want to help people imagine the good life gluten-free, and they can have it.
I love it. All right.
Yes.
So tell us how they can get it, and what the two different options are, and how they can get it as soon as possible in their mailbox.
So we have a Kickstarter. You just go to the Gluten-Free Girl flour blends on Kickstarter, or every single post on Gluten-Free Girl right now.
And I'll link them in the post here.
Okay, good. And of course, what a Kickstarter is not a direct investment, but it's like a PBS or an NPR pledge. You give us a certain amount, and we'll give you something in return. So if somebody actually has a really generous ability to give, we can make you your own private dinner party for 6. But we're doing a PDF of 10 recipes that use these 2 flours, and that's going out to everybody who pledges. And it's exclusive recipes. We're doing baking classes and gift baskets for the holidays, and everything we can to involve baking and feeding people.
I love it. Great. So there you have it. If you want awesome, amazing, delicious, grain-free sourdough bread, Shauna style, gluten-free girl style, go onto the Kickstarter link below and pledge. I really want this to work, and it looks like you're well on your way. So
we're on our way. We're like the little engine that could every day. We're like, we think we can. And I have to say, Darya, that your book is absolutely my only favorite book on anything to do with food these days. There's so much dogma, and there's so much negativity, and so much don't and can't and camps, that people have. And when I read your book, I was just so relieved to finally have somebody who loved food and was joyful about it. So thank you so much. It means the world to me that you like this.
Well, thank you, and good luck with everything. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.